We are diving into part 2 of the X-Cutioner song. And as I'm going through this, my goodness, I'm just remembering why this was the event that got me reading mainstream X-Men comic books. Because up to this point, the way that I was, like a lot of my generation, way we were introduced to X-Men, because we weren't born in the 60s and 70s, and a lot of us the early 80s, so we were like children. We really go to the comic shop at 2 years old. With that said, we were introduced to X-Men through X-Men the animated series. And so for me, I loved comics. I've been reading them for a while now, but I wanted to read X-Men and know more about them. But I didn't know what all this meant. And being young, we didn't have the internet. We had to rely on Wizard magazine. And where I was, it wasn't always readily available. Like maybe I would see issue 1 of Wizard, and then maybe a week later, it'd be like issue 5. And I'm like, what the hell? But that's what happens in small towns. So I had to devour what I knew. And that's how I kind of started to slowly learn about X Factor. Blah, 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 blah. But with that said, the way I decided to dive into X-Men is I started with the X-Men Adventure comics that were based on the animated series. But my friend that would spend the night every weekend, he was reading the X-Cutioner song. and I would look at my book and I look at his and I'm like, damn, why does Wolverine look so much more brutal? And I went, okay, you know what? I think I'm going to start diving into that. And so Uncanny X-Men 299 was the first real X-Men book that my grandmother ever bought me. And then I went in and started getting the X-Cutioner stuff. So I was one happy. I still didn't know a whole lot. Like when the X-Cutioner song first happened, I didn't know what X-Force was. I didn't know what an X-Factor was. I didn't know what a New Mutant was. So I just collected Uncanny and X-Factor, X-Men. So I didn't get to read the whole story. It wasn't until I got into high school that I went back and started picking up all the subsequent parts to fully read it in its entirety. And went, damn, this is good. Wish I would have got into it sooner. So with that said, we are going into X-Factor 84. And this is written by Peter David. Penciled by Jay Lee. Whoop, whoop. Inked by Al Milgrom. I swear, I sometimes feel like I'm just giving these artists my own names, like Lee Robfield and and Al Milgrom. We're just going to go with that. Colored by Brad Vancata. Lettered by Richard Starkings. Editor Kelly Converse. Then Bob Harris and Tom DeFalco. So big freaking names. And if you think about it now, put in this in its scope, is Jay Lee was relatively new. Now, I don't know if this is legit or not. Please help me down in the comments if I'm wrong. But I swear, Wizard used to do an artist showcase. So indie artists or people off the street would submit their art. And, if you were good enough, they would hit you up. And I can swear I saw this really beautifully painted version of the thing. And I think the name said Jay Lee. And I think it was shortly after that I started seeing his name more often. So, maybe. But some big fracking names on this book, and the artwork is gorgeous and very much that Jay Lee style before he started just straight up doing paintings. Love this. I mean, yeah, it's a little over enhanced, but that's how comics were back in the day, and that's why we love them so much. So, an assassination attempt on Professor Xavier's life has left his life in great jeopardy. Meanwhile, Scott Summers and Jean Grey have been abducted by the 4 Horsemen of Apocalypse. The X-Cutioner song. It's suicide. Even worse, poor strategy. I don't see where we have a choice, Shatterstar. We all saw Cable in New York shooting down Xavier. We have to go after him. Sam says, I say we go. We owe it to Cable to rein him in if he's nuts. And if he's hurt the professor, we owe it to Xavier. But you're staying here, Berto. No offense, but you're hurt so bad you could barely get out of bed, much less be in use of a fight. So Sam having to take on that sort of reluctant leader role, just to see where he's grown from the first time that we've seen him in New Mutants issue 1 and the Marvel graphics novel where him and Danny kind of became co-leaders of the New Mutants. Just love how I've seen him in his own. I just wish at this point we'd seen more of Danny because she kind of became obscure during the 90s. It's called Tough Love, and we just see that Xavier's life is hanging in the balance. I love this doctor. He does not take no shit. She goes, Doctor, the name's Val Cooper from the Bureau of Mutant Affairs. I want to be kept apprised of his situation. It's none of your business. He's a valued government consultant, Doctor. That makes it my business. Smack! Take your business elsewhere. Get out of my way. Rain, hold up. Come on, they went through here. No admittance, Ren 1010. Can't you read the sign? Read this. Is she gone? Rain, for crying out loud. You start freaking out about Xavier and someone's going to start putting 2 and 2 together about his being a mutant pretty blasted fast. So get a grip. And I just love that. So it just shows, Rain sees Xavier as a surrogate father because he he was the one that essentially saved her from I can't remember the name of the Catholic church that had her, but they basically wanted to kill her because of her mutation. But he saved her from that, so she sees him as a father figure. Now, under these type of conditions, Alex gets to meet up with Storm, introduced to Bishop, and he's like, who's this guy? And he goes, this is Bishop. And then she introduces, and I just love how Bishop is just all business. And at this point, he hasn't eased up a little bit because he still has that XSE mentality because he's still a relatively new character. So while all this is going on, Reign says, now what do we do about the professor? We wait. Now, apparently in the last issue of X Factor, some mutants escaped Genosha, and one of the individuals got almost beat to a pulp. And his friend says, we fled Genosha to escape anti-mutant oppression. This is the wrong country to come to. Not only is young Taylor the victim of mindless anti-mutant hysteria, but all Xavier had to do was show up to a concert for Brotherhood and he was shot. I was there when Xavier and my father Magneto first butted heads over humanity. How nauseating it is to think Magneto's view seems borne out. Come now, Pietro, you're not saying Magneto is right. The very thought of Magneto repels me, Lorna. But no buts. It's not humans versus mutants. After all, there have been plenty of norms who have met with violence or death simply because of what they were or what they believed in. I see, Ms. Dane. Human brutality towards mutants is acceptable because it's equitable. You're twisting it, Prodigal. It's not acceptable. No, it's not. And how much more do you think we will take until we start letting people know that we'll take no more? Now, I'm going to get on the soapbox for a minute, and I'm not trying to stir any shit, so don't think that. But yes, comics have always had political undertones. But back then, yes, it could be heavy-handed at times. It served the story. We all know what's been going on with Genosha since the X-Cutioner song, the Extinction Agenda. So seeing how mutants are horribly persecuted around the globe, yes, it is an allegory for what happens in the real world. But it's done in a way that it doesn't feel like it's going, I'm going to point my finger at you and it serves the story. And it's not the whole fucking book either. So we get what's going on here. And before any more could happen, I love how Guido just busts in. Lex, Joe, Beth, and I just heard. How is he? Just heard. It's 2 a.m. I've been trying to raise you all night on the headset. Why the blazes didn't you respond, Guido? Where have you been? I had my headset turned off. Turned off. That unit so we can get it in touch with you. Why? It was at my request. I didn't want interruptions. Did I, Cupcake? Wow. And so Reigns, she can't take it. And I love how Jay Lee just gives her that mentality of I can't take it anymore. It's been running hours since they brought him in. I'm going daft here, Alex. Okay, listen, Reign. I want you to head out to the bandstand in Central Park where the professor was shot. See if you can pick up any clues as to where Cable's whereabouts. Guido, go with her. Why? Because I ordered you to, Cupcake. Okay, so long as there's a reason. So we get that allegory, and then you get kind of a moment of levity with everything that's going on. So you can kind of laugh and still have moments to think. So Reign goes in trying to sort out all the different scents from where Xavier was shot down, but she cannot pick out Cable. She goes, there's something off. But she's like, the plot thickens. And then Guido says, where is it? I haven't spotted Cable. Do we attack if he's there? And Alex says, under no circumstance do you let yourself be seen. They're dangerous, and you're outnumbered. We'll grab a cab over or something. Got it? Got it. We'll stay out of this. Sam! I remember Reign and Sam were both part of the New Mutants. Alex, change in plans. Farrell let her pass. Somehow I had a feeling that if we ran into anyone, it'd be her. I don't like her smell. I don't like your face. Now move it, sister. Oh, speaking of which, Hasbro, if you're listening, you gave us a Reign Sinclair Wolfsbane. Thank you. Now, can you please kindly get off your ass, take the mold that you did for Reign and give us a Farrell already so that we can finish our X Factor and our X-Force figures? Please, I'm just saying. Come on. Sam, I cannot believe it. We thought you were dead. Well, I was, but I got better. Hey, kiddo, the dude looks good on you. Tabitha, it's like a new Mutants reunion. Now I love this. I see a hand reach out. I hear you don't think about me anymore. What, Richter? And her and Richter share this passionate moment. I wish that they would have kept these two together. That's nice. That's nice. But he's like, ow, you bit me. I'm sorry, Rick. I lost my head. You got me so worked up. Wow, spicy. Now, Sam's saying, let's move out. But Guido says, only place you're going, kids, is up against the ship. Now, come on, spread them. I'm a government rep, and you bozos are wanted big time. And I love how Jay Lee just gives Shatterstar this deep shadows. And he goes, how nice. Mutant is government stooge, betrayed his own kind. How'd you like to learn the fine art of sword swallowing, Sonny? Wait, we don't have to argue, Sam. This outlaw life of yours. It's not what we dreamed of in your student days. It's madness. Turn yourself in. Tell you what you know about Cable. You owe nothing to that killer. Cable's one of us, and we watch out for our own, no matter how it looks. But tell me, Rain, what if I said I'd have X-Force surrender if you agreed to leave X-Factor and join us instead if we're kicked loose later? I cannot do that. We've been through this. Right. I know, Alex. And then Richter's like, what about Alex? She's hung up on him. I hate him already. Oh, Richter, it gets worse here in a minute. But we kind of see where lines are drawn and all hell breaks loose. As much as Rain doesn't want it to happen. And the fight between Farrell and Wolfsbane is absolutely freaking intense. And we'll talk about that. But Shatterstar tries to stab Guido, and he's like, what? My sword, what happened to... Looking for this? How dare you? Strong Grey is right. You're quite fast. Let's see how you fare against someone whose speed is not merely an attribute, but a lifestyle. Have you had enough? Holy crow, Rain's gonna kill her. I gotta... This is the Alex that I miss. Now, after the Extinction Agenda, and they were leading into this new era of X-Factor, and Cyclops and Xavier finally convinced Alex to take the leadership role. And he kind of comes into his own. He goes, what you got to do is surrender, boy. You're not going to be given a free pass like you were last time. Lorna, thanks for rubbing that in my face, Havoc. I hate that after this time, and it seemed like anytime that we've seen Alex after this, he's always got that chip on his shoulder, like he's living in Cyclops' shadow, or he's reluctant, or he's scared. And I'm so tired of that bullshit, because that is not the Havoc that we knew through the 90s and 2000s and the late part of the 80s. So it just, to me, it feels like a character assassination, in my opinion. Now, I was talking about with Richter, they're coming in on this floating doodad, and I'm not sure what it is. But Richter's like, that's Alex, isn't it, Boomer? Yep, that's Alex. Then all of a sudden, we just see the ship crashing, and Guido's like, wow, you really showed them? Yeah, you said... Oh, no, you don't. Oh, yes, I do. I'm the wrong one to hit with vibro waves, Sonny. Leastways if you don't want them right back at you. This is why Peter David's X-Factor still stands the test of time. He knew how to add serious moments, and then his own type of dry comedic humor moments. And that's why it made it so special, because everyone had their own sense of personalities, but we're still able to joke without it feeling like, oh, look, Tumblr and TikTok and MySpace.com, like the new X-Factor, that was just a chunk of shit. And that's why it got shredded. This fight between Pietro and Shatterstar is so freaking fun. Coward, you dodge around because you're afraid to face me. Not at all. I dodge around to make you feel as stupid as you look. I was right. You are without honor. You obnoxious punk. The worst thing you could do is merit my full attention. My entire life consists of finding ways to ease the boredom which you're presently doing. But you're coming dangerously close to crossing the line of the realm of being an annoyance. It's just, the tit for tat between these two is so much fun. Now, while all this is going on, the doctors realize that there is something deeper going on with Xavier while they're trying to save his life. In the fight between Farrell and Rain, just, whoa, Farrell, fall back. No argument here. Smooth moves, ma'am. You just made 5 more of them. Don't matter. X-Force, we're leaving. Now everyone's brought back to the hospital after the X-Men decide that they are going to team up to try to find Cable, and I love the way they just introduced Wolverine here. And of course, kind of minus the Beast, the more subterfuge style X-Men. I mean, he essentially trained Rogue, Remy, Master Thief, and then of course Psylocke, being now in the body of Quanon. Great X-Men team right here. So much excitement. Now we find out more about what happened between Jean and Scott, and I don't really want to give that away. But what I do want to get to is when they find out what's on Xavier's chest. They find out that it's the techno-organic virus. And Jamie's like, I've seen this before. How do we stop it? That's the problem, Val. We can't. Let's get him back to the mansion. Will that help him? And I like how they let the dialogue here. It's very subtle, but see how everything looks very straight and clean? It's like it kind of breaks up a little bit here. Like Jamie's voice is cracking and he goes, in a way, after all, a man should be allowed to die in his own home. And you're just kind of like, whoa, that's just whew, hits you right in the feels. X Factor 84 is definitely an awesome read. And if you haven't read X-Men before, the X-Cutioner song is where I highly recommend it. Yeah, maybe a little biased just because it's where I started and I still love it to this day. So guys, real quick announcement. To celebrate hitting 1,000 community members here on YouTube, I'm doing a giveaway. So make sure I will leave all the details on how to enter down in the description, and I hope that you guys enter because it's just fun, because I want to see all y'all's action figure photography and awesome shelf pictures, and I will be doing a giveaway. First prize will be getting the McFarlane Toys Spawn Universe Soul Crusher. Second place winner will be getting 2 8x10 prints of any of my action figure photography of their choice, hand signed by me. Now, I do have an idea on maybe updating it, but I'm waiting on some things. So once I get more confirmation on that, I will let y'all know. But for the meantime, that is the giveaway as it stands. And if you've enjoyed what you've seen in this review, really would appreciate taking a moment to like, share, and subscribe. Helps the channel more than you could possibly know. And if you don't mind hitting that fancy little X bell, next subscribe. That way I can get upload content. You guys get notified. Come to the channel, and I love talking with y'all and hearing your thoughts and feedback down in the comments or the socials, which I'll make sure I leave the links down in the description. So with all that said, hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, everyone.